Hello everybody and welcome to the streets of St. Petersburg. It's good to have your company as we're setting up for rounds 3 and 4 of what has developed into a must-see championship down through the years. 45 minutes of Mazda MX-5 Cup racing. Joining me in the Global Broadcast Centre is SKYACTIV. We'll hear from her in a moment. Actually, no, I'm in the Global Broadcast Centre. She is in the Media Centre at St. Petersburg. We're just off the outside of the Albert Whitted Airport, which is on the western coast. The west coast is the best coast, is what we're told around here, in a place where if the sun doesn't shine on a day, the local newspaper is given away free, and it hasn't happened very many times over the last 120 years of that newspaper, although it was pouring down of rain overnight. 1.8 miles, 14 corners, incorporating the main runway of the airport on the run down to turn 1, and then across First Street and Beach Street, and then down the curving part of Bayshore Drive into that tricky turn 10. Looks to me as though turn 4 has been opened out a little bit since the last time we were here. What we know is it provides absolutely outstanding racing in this huge field that'll follow behind the Whelen Mazda MX-5 pace car, as it will be to start with. Safety car, if we see not just the regulars, some new rookies this weekend as we head through the season, and 2 invitational class cars. Sebastian Bourdais, local resident, he'll start from 14th position for Michelin Racing and celebrates his birthday today, and he wins the battle of the incomers because Earl Bamber qualified in 17th position for Hendricks Motorsport. They were 6 and 7 tenths away from the guys at the front of the field, so absolutely nothing between it. We've already had 2 rounds of the championship this year, and the venue could not have been any different. Here we're on a street circuit with 90-degree corners. The last 2 races were at the World Centre of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Just about a couple of miles off the beach at Daytona is where this brilliant circuit has been carved out.
45 drivers, 17 of them are rookies.
And we are racing in 2026 for the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup. Drafting is king here. What you will see here is how difficult it is to break the way. Down to the inside, here comes Harmon. On the high side, there goes DaCosta, but as they come to the line, it's Harmon that takes it.
His first ever victory. Take a bow, Noah Harmon. You are a race winner here at your home track.
45 minutes on the clock, green flag in the air.
And it is go time.
This is what we've come for. This is worth the price of admission this weekend on its own. This is going to be the typical Daytona drag to the finish. Fletcher will hold on to it, I think, as they go across the line by half a car. Another classic Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup race here at Daytona. Justin Adiconis then on top of the championship standings from Ruben Cachares on 5:30 in 2nd position. But it's early days in the championship standings. Cars are rolling. Matt Novak and Justin Adiconis at the top of the standings. Still a little bit of dampness on the circuit, so it's Novak from Adiconis, our championship leader. Bobby Gossett has had good results here in the past. Then Jeremy Fletcher and Ethan Lampre. West, Jared Thomas. Chuck McTutus is the 2nd best of the rookies, with 3rd best of the rookies Frankie Barroso in 9th position, and James Vance makes up the top 10. That's how they will start. Keep an eye out for some of the names further down as well. There's some big ones down there, with Glenn McGee, who was on the podium here last year in race 1. He starts further down the field, and he would like in 20th position. Alex Bashura, he's down in 22nd position. Ethan Goulart, he would expect to be further up, as would 28th position Gresham Wagner. Expect him to come forward Gresham always at the sharp end of the field. And I haven't mentioned there either Tyler Gonzalez, who is normally at the sharp end of the field as well, but there's a very good reason for that, and Adam will give us the news from the media centre.
Hello, John. Yeah, Tyler Gonzalez not here this weekend. He's racing at COTA. We are going to do a second pace lap, by the way, all the cars starting on wet weather tires, but because the track is in a condition that we have not yet seen, we start the clock now, and the race is officially going, but we are still under the control of the safety car. We do have another change to the grid. Car number 72, that's Ethan Goulart, will drop to the back of the pack. He had to change his arm restraints for this morning's race, so he has been dropped to last to start this race as well. We had quite a bit of incident and contact in qualifying yesterday. That included the number 19 of Marcello Paniccia for Sato Motorsport Group. His crew finished repairing the car about an hour before it needed to roll out to false grid. So shout out goes to the Sato Motorsport crew for getting that done so well. It's not quickly, but it took all the time it needed, and they did manage to accomplish it. And Matt Novak, as you mentioned, the pole sitter, in only his third weekend of racing in the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup Championship, his third ever weekend in Spec MX, he went on to win. So let's see if maybe history can repeat itself for one Mr. Matt Novak.
So effectively, we are working a full course yellow. So the pace Whelen MX-5 Mazda has become a safety car. 63 Fahrenheit across the board-ish. Partly cloudy with a damp track and 95% humidity. The sun is coming out. The question for me that we haven't really been able to answer, Shea Adam, and I'm not sure if you know, is how many people are on slick Michelin tyres and how many people have taken the wets. Oh, no one's taken wets.
No, it's mandated by race control. If they say the racetrack is wet, you must start on wet weather tires.
Right, okay. So it is a wet weather race then, with the glistening sunshine still shining down. This early start might make for some difficult driving conditions with the sun low down in the driver's eyes and reflecting off the damp surface through the start and restart zone onto the airport runway. And there will be difficulty crossing the white lines, the grip changes, the green flags in the air, and with 42 minutes and 43 seconds to go, we are racing. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide. I'm almost going to call that 5.5 as they go across that tricky surface. Let's see if everybody gets through that first corner. It was a good, clean start from the front row of the grid as they go through. Matt Novak and Jeremy Fletcher coming through there with Bobby Gossett sitting in there. It's the number 23 then that is leading. No, as I say that, of course, it all changes, and Matt Novak has dropped back, and Bobby Gossett in the black car, the number 44, goes through into the lead through that slightly wider turn 4. Now curving their way onto the most beautiful run-down Bayshore Drive. Drivers left, it's the marina where all the boats are parked up, and the drivers don't get the opportunity to look at that down into turn 10 for the first time. And this has been a very good start indeed for BSI Racing and the black and red number 44 of Bobby Gossett, Shay.
And Bobby's been fast all weekend. He was fastest in the only practice session we had. Qualifying didn't exactly go his way. He felt like he left a little bit on the table. But Bobby driving once again this year with BSI Racing, the shift we've seen in his driving both at Daytona and this weekend has been noticeable. His sister is also in this race. Ellie is running a bit further back. This is her first time driving a race car in wet weather conditions, a race car of this ilk, I should say. She does have experience in MX and SMX both, but when you're in MX-5 Cup, it's a very different race car as Fletcher looks down the inside of his teammate Ataconis going into turn 1, decides better of it, backs out just a little bit. We still have 35 minutes left on the clock. There's a long way to go in this race yet.
Ataconis not showing on the timing and scoring totem to the left-hand side, but he is there. Jeremy Fletcher sitting in behind him, so it's 23 from 22, and already a problem further back down the field. That's Ellie Gossett for BSI. Shea Adam mentioned her name. I'm going to have to say it is blame Shea for that one.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ellie. I was singing your praises, but yeah, she stopped at turn 1. Looks like maybe some contact to the left rear of the car as a result of getting on the paint. We mentioned it, John, that paint is so slippery on the runway, especially when you add a little bit of water, and we added a lot of water overnight. But Bobby Gossett led that lap. He's going to be seeing his sister sitting in turn 1 as the yellows are out.
It's very It's a full course yellow indeed. It is very difficult when it's dry because the grip levels are so different between the tarmac of the runway, the asphalt of the runway, then over the white lines, the markings, and then back on the runway. And it does depend on what tyres you are, how much heat you've got in them and what car you're driving as to whether it's more grip or less grip. Oh, lost it very early in the piece, under braking and probably on the downshift. Now, Shea, I'm going to say there's more paint on the runway and more new paint on the runway this year than I've seen for quite a long time. Those big V's, those big arrowheads, I don't remember being there in the past.
I can't say because I had never done a track walk before the other day, even though this is my local track. The airport is strictly forbidden to come walk across, but it's definitely slippy out there. You could feel it even in the dry conditions as it was on Thursday, and it's been a long time since we've had any sort of proper rain, so they were very, very, very dry conditions. My feet were slipping on those white hashes, so it is definitely tricky out there, especially with the amount of precipitation that we got overnight.
Yeah, many years ago I did some laps around here as part of the all-day LMS V-Test program, and I've driven some pace cars around here. I don't remember those centre lines being as thick or as white. I think they've been recently done, and as I say, those big V's. At IMSA Radio, by the way, if you want to get in touch with us, we have neutralised the field with the Whelen Mazda MX-5 safety car in the beautiful soul red crystal colour, which looks so good on any Mazda. Let's give you a rundown. It's Bobby Gossett who leads for BSI Racing in the number 44 black and red car. Then Justin Adeconis in the number 23 is not showing on timing and scoring at the moment. That's the blue and yellow car. Then it's Jeremy Fletcher for Michelin Racing, his teammate. Then Chuck McTutus, who is for AAG Racing. He is now the best of the rookies, the number 60 car, fourth on the road. Jared Thomas has made his way up in the number 96 for JTR Motorsport Engineering. And one or two drivers looking for the wetter parts of the track here already. Jared Thomas in the red and white Chevron car, staying over to driver's left in the shade of the wall there. Maybe thinks it's wetter at that part of the circuit. Looks a bit untidy behind the safety car at the moment because of those drivers moving around so much on the runway. Behind Jared, it's Mark Novak, who started right at the sharp end of the field, the Advanced Autosport rookie, down to fifth with Ethan Lamprey, his AA teammate, the number 31 behind him. In eighth position, Frankie Barroso makes it a trio of rookies towards the bottom end of the top 10. Grant West in ninth and Tristan McKee in 10th position for BSI. In the battle of our invitation class drivers, Earl Bamber has made the move forward and now sits right behind Sebastian Bourdais, 14th and 15th for respectively the number 38, Michelin Racing, and the number 21 of Earl Bamber, Hendricks Motorsport car. Looking further down the field to see who else has been making some moves. Gresham Wagner up to 22nd position, Ethan Tyler 23rd, Glenn McGee 24th. Those all drivers I would expect to see further up the field. Conversely, Alex Bashura has dropped down to 27th, just ahead of Damon Oakey for BSI Racing, 28th and 29th those two drivers. Plenty of talent here right throughout this field, not necessarily where you would expect them to be, but it's been a very different weekend. We had 3 free practice sessions here last year with Western Workman topping all 3 of them. Although he didn't manage to get a result in the race, it was Jared Thomas who won race 1 and Tyler Gonzalez who won race 2 here. But there's been not much time at all for the drivers to get up to speed, which makes the showing of rookies at the sharp end of the field all the more impressive.
Yeah, it's been a very much reduced weekend compared to what we're used to as far as track time is concerned. And actually, speaking of that, I'm trying to get an answer as to how much time is left in this race, because on our initial schedule, it was 2 40-minute races. But as you can see, the clock on the side has still been counting down, and it is listed as 45. So hopefully they decided to give us that extra 5 minutes. But yes, 1 short, sharp practice session with more than half the grid, 0 laps turned on this track prior to yesterday's running. That means we have a lot of newbies to St. Pete, as well as a lot of rookies on the grid as well this year. And John, we've said it for years, rookies do not know their place anymore. Right now, Chuck McTutis up into P4 behind Jeremy Fletcher. Chuck McTutis is trying to get to Bobby Gossett because the 2 of them normally race in basically club level things together and have a lot of fun. So they're used to running around in tandem at the front of other series. This is the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup Championship. This is different level. Chuck clearly missed that memo, and he's going, you know what? I'm in a Mazda. I know how to do this. Let's go have extra fun.
Not a typical street circuit either here at St. Petersburg. Yes, there are parts of the track which are traditional, where it's a long blast into a 90-degree corner. For example, down between turns 3 and 4 on First Street Southwest. But 5 opens out onto Beach Street, and then it's a right-hander onto Central Avenue, right-hander onto Bayshore Drive, that flat-out kink halfway down there, and then the tricky, it's round about, what is it, 75 degrees left-hander at turn 10, and then the fast chicane at 11 and 12. So there's all kinds of corners for the drivers to negotiate and for the technicians to set up the suspension on these cars. Going back to green with just under 33 minutes to go. Excellent work by our track services and AMR safety team. Green flag in the air, 32 and a half minutes of the 45 remaining. And to the line then, Bobby Gossett gets the run. Adeconis tries round the outside in the blue and yellow car down at turn 1 as he braked on a completely different line, and it's side by side with Jeremy Fletcher now. Those two McCumbee McAlee racing teammates, and Fletcher's gone through in a second into the number 22 car. Chuck McTutis sitting in behind with a watching brief. He's just lost his 5th position because the red and white car with the yellow rollover cage has gone through. That, of course, is JTR, Jared Thomas. So he's gone up a position. We're starting to see now, Shea, the faster drivers coming through, and that little deployment of the Mazda safety car will have helped them, and so will this, because we're going to see the safety car again, I'm afraid, as Logan Stretch in the Wheels America Racing Mazda number 98, the red, white and blue car, is off the circuit.
And this is the second time where we have had Logan Stretch in the wall in race number 1. He DNF'd at Daytona as well, so a very difficult start to the championship for Logan, who comes in with Wheels America Racing. His family team started karting at age 5 and has been in Spec Miatas since 2020. Is also off the track, Vaughn Mishko for Advanced Autosport. Yesterday, he had an issue in qualifying, hit the wall, started way further back than he wanted. That is going to be a rough one, but hopefully both cars can be recovered quickly. The AMR safety team already on it. These men and women are so good. They will get Logan as quickly as we can, and let's see if maybe there was some side-to-side contact between the two of them, or if Logan was on his own over the curbs and just happened to get into Vaughn. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, the Vaughn Mishkov advanced car, Advanced Autosport car. Another rookie there, getting into contact. A broken right rear suspension link for the American Wales number 98. That was very unlucky for both of them. Was it a mistake? Yes, it was. But the contact was almost incidental to what had happened there. And I think Logan Stretch was a little bit unfortunate.
We've also had a car dive into the pit lane. It's showing on timing and scoring. Nathan Nicholson, a young man who's been looking forward to this weekend. Well, basically since we left last year, John. He got his first ever podium in the series here, and he made the pass of the year here, as voted by his peers, going into turn one on one of the restarts from P6 to the lead. Nathan, a busy weekend. He is a wheel and back driver. He's also running in the truck race later today. Looks like he had an issue on the right rear tire. This is another Advanced Autosport car. And Nathan was another one who had issues in qualifying, John. He got hard into the wall. They are going for slicks for Nathan. That did not work the last time we saw this attempt. That was by Nate Cicero at Daytona last year. If you remember, he pitted from the lead. He came back out and never got back to the lead.
Yeah, exactly. So what we are interested to see is how quickly they can get that done. It's typically not the opportunity. Yeah, just not the opportunity for pit stops. Oh, and actually, what I hadn't seen in all of that was Vaughan Mishko then clipping the wall on driver's right.
Ow.
And so there's more damage than I thought to that number 9 Advanced Autosports Mazda as well. So that is now in the pit lane. The leaders and the safety car again. This is interesting though, and I wonder if this is what has informed the decision of Nathan Nicholson and the rest of the team, because everybody is searching for the wet patches on the circuit, Shay, and with just under half an hour to go, that car, Nathan has got out. He's just going through down towards turn 10 now, so he will get back on the end of the line. His problem is that quite a lot of the track is wet but drying, but if he's going to overtake, he's going to have to go onto the wetter, more greasy parts of the track.
Yeah, we talked about this in the drivers' meeting yesterday. Randy Buck anticipating very, very accurately that the track would be wet this morning. We thought that maybe there was a chance that it would not be raining, and thankfully the racing gods have smiled upon us, and we've got beautiful sunshine and actually clearish skies, so it's perfect conditions out there for racing. But we talked about it. There's nothing stopping you from starting the race on wet weather tires, as you have to do when race control declares it wet, and coming in and changing. But we did bring up the fact that at Daytona last year this was attempted. It did not work, and chances are if you're going to risk it, it's not going to work again. Now we're going to see how it plays out for Nathan on a track where arguably he's most comfortable.
Yeah, the key thing is here that it's been done much earlier, and you've got the advantage of having had a couple of Whelen Mazda safety car interventions with that dark red, soul red crystal MX-5 to pack the pack up again. The disadvantage is that there are still something in the region of 37 or 38 cars that are running, even though we've already got a couple of cars out with Ellie Gossett and Vaughan Mishko and Logan Stretch as well out. So it's going to be tough, but keep an eye on that car when we go back to green flag racing. We've still got 26.5 minutes to go, and Nathan Nicholson actually is tearing around. He's not even the last car because he's got I panicked myself there because I just saw Logan Stretch's car on our Dancing Ants tracker moving down towards turn 10, and I'm thinking, how's he managed to fix that? It's on the back of the flatbed, but still recording its position around the track. So Nathan Nicholson is, I believe, the last of the cars that is running at the moment. Just seeing him coming up to Ruben Caceres and Ethan Goulart. Now they're both laps down as well. Ada Connors now shown in the pits as well. He's the championship leader here.
Justin is not going on to slick tires. They are actually looking under the left side of his car and popping the hood. This is terrible news for Justin Adaconis, the championship leader. Justin had unfinished business after last year's race. He ran so well, so impressively. A mistake all on his own, went into the wall at turn 9, meant the steering. He actually seemed to drive better, if that's possible, after that happened, but they are sending him back out now. He has not had a tire change, but his mom is here this weekend, as well as his dad, Neil. Neil comes to all the rounds. I met his mom this morning in the paddock. I've been told she's such a super fan that normally she's cheering louder than the broadcast can be heard in the pit lane. So just wanted to give a shout out and welcome her to be here. Hopefully this is not incentive for Justin to justify her not to come to the track. We still have another race tomorrow, and we still have a long way to go in this one.
Just to put the full stop on the Nathan Nicholson story, he is on the back of the line now. The Logan Stretch Mazda, the American Wales car, is just pulled over to the side of the circuit on the back of the wrecker truck. Again, thank you to all of our marshals and volunteers. Early start for them today. And this is going to be at least, I think, one more lap. We're going to be down to something like 20 minutes of racing. But Shea did mention how comfortable Nate Nicholson is around here. A third and a second here last year when we ran 25 and 30 laps respectively for the two races. Again, that was a phenomenal pair of races. This is the second weekend of the year. We're off to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in the early weekend of June. Then a month later to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for one of the highlights of the season. They're all highlights, really. VIR, Virginia International Raceway, towards the end of August into September on the road circuit at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And the season finishes, as tradition dictates, at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta, for Matul Petit Le Mans, September the 30th to October the 2nd. That gives us our full season of races, 2 races every weekend. We have had to add races on if they have disappeared. I think we've had a 3-race event a couple of times, depending on what has happened. Sad to say that the Logan Stretch Wheels America car is looking very second-hand, left front and rear to be looked at, and right rear suspension for sure. We saw that broken. In fact, that's dragging at the moment. You might wonder why that's not being dragged back to the pits. There's no point in dragging it back to the pits because that's not where the Whelen Mazda MX-5 cars are paddocked, if that is, if I can make a verb out of that. They are to the left-hand side of the start-finish straight, so the wrecker truck from Steps will swing into the gap in the wall and take that straight back to the team. They need to get it repaired for tomorrow's race. And we'll
the field is
have some time to do that.
Now. So we might actually have an opportunity to go back green this lap.
Green.
The safety car did not have its lights out, but given where they are on the track and where the tow truck was, we shouldn't be under yellow for too much longer. Bobby Gossett, by the way, has now ensured that he will take the bonus points for leading the most laps in this race, simply because I don't think we're going to get another 11 laps out of this race, unless we stay green for the remainder of the time.
Well,
no, it could happen. I'm not going to give it yet, but that is something on the line. This weekend, there are 10 bonus points for leading the most lap in each race, 10 bonus points for getting the Motul Pole Award for each race, and 10 bonus points for setting the fastest lap during the race. Right now, Gossett has the best lap. He's led the most laps, but those 10 pole points go to Matt Novak.
Shea, you were mentioning that Daytona race where it was wet and then dry. That was Daytona 2024, was it not?
It was last year at Daytona when Nate
2025,
and
yes.
Wagner ran away. Nate came into the pit lane to pit for a tire change, and Gresham went on to win the race.
That was a question posed by the Sebring 12 fan. Says, I can't recall the last time the MX-5 Cup Series raced in the damp of the rain. So it was just over a year ago.
We raced in Mid-Ohio last year, and it was soaking wet. That was Ethan Goulart's first win when he came in as a rookie. We also had another rain race last year, but it's evading me for which round it was. Might have been VIR.
So it would appear that we have a second tow truck out on the circuit at the moment doing some recovery. That must be Vaughan Mishko's car that needed recovering as well. So we're not quite ready to go back to green. It's good news for Bobby Gossett. Bad news for anybody trying to make up positions. Well done to Max Stallone, Wheels America Racing teammate of Logan Stretch, who has made up 10 positions already from his starting spot. So they come round through the restart zone one more time. And again, people diving off to the right. This benefits Nathan Nicholson because he's getting heat into those tyres. He would like to be going quicker, but this is all good news for Nathan Nicholson, who is sitting down at the tail end of the field. Can he get up into points scoring position for Advanced Autosports? 34th position at the moment in that number 56 car.
We're going to have to keep an eye on him, but one guy who's already made some pretty big gains today is Ryan Leach. He sits in the 13th position. He's driving car number 89 for Spark Performance. This is Ryan's second race weekend. It's his first race weekend as a father. He and his wife welcomed a little baby girl into the world earlier this week, and thankfully for Ryan, he's a St. Pete local, so he gets to sleep at home, which may or may not be a good thing given that the baby isn't quite sleeping through the night yet, but that's okay. Really excited to see Ryan in the race. He's been doing all kinds of promotion for Mazda this week, and he is right behind another local, Sebastian Bourdais. Ryan was saying how excited he was to be able to learn from somebody who also has lived here for such a long time. But when I talked with Spark Performance at Daytona before our first session even began, one of the coaches, and I'm not going to name names and throw anyone under the bus, not yet, said Ryan Leach will be our most improved driver from the beginning of Daytona until the end of the season. We're already seeing a lot more pace out of him here this weekend. Clearly, he's comfortable on his home streets.
Started in 12th position, sits in 14th at the moment. Remember that, sits in 13th at the moment, as we are about to clear the circuit with the second of the two cars involved in our second incident. Advanced Autosports, the blue, black and white Nelson Brothers sponsored Mazda of Vaughan Mishko. That might be just too close for us to be able to go green here. Waiting for race control.
There we go.
Oh no, we're going to go green. Smart work by the recovery crew, and Bobby Gossett in the BSI Racing black car with the red stripes on the hood, on the bonnet. Restarts, and Jeremy Fletcher was very quick on the throttle coming out the final corner. He'll be alongside by the time they go down into turn one. The right-hander, he had a little look in the blue and black car, hasn't been able to get through. Jared Thomas in the red and white car, though, he's getting pressure from Chuck McTutis in the AAG Racing. That's the other black car in there. And we've had another issue, this time for the 09 that's gone straight on. And that's Damon Oki. And he looks like he's heading back to the paddock. Actually, that was turn one. He's going through the tyre wall barrier there. Ahead of him, everything going well. Damon started just in the mid-20s for BSI Racing. 24th on the restart, just ahead of Fernando Luque and Christian Hodenland and Max Stallone, who's continuing to make up positions in that number 20, in that number 3 car in 27th position. So 15 and 3/4 minutes to go. Tristan McKee down the inside of turn 10, and a huge sideways moment for Grant West, who keeps the number 50 Spark Performance car out of the wall with the quickest hands you'll see here all weekend. Incredible stuff, but there was contact there with the BSI Racing number 7, the purple car. And Tristan McKee, I think, will be asked to explain his actions there, shall we say. Fastest lap of the race as the track starts to dry. It's 1:31.9 for Bobby Gossett.
You say it starts to dry, and yet when the cars get on the brakes on the white line, there is no grip for them whatsoever, as Ryan Leach proves to us that going around the outside is more difficult than it seems. But yeah, that was a very sketchy couple of moments there. And remember, those are the cars on the wet weather tires. How terrible is it out there for Nathan Nicholson on those slick tires? Answer, he's still back in 33rd position as we get another look of the contact as McKee just dove down the inside. It was an optimistic move. Grant left him room. Now, McKee was not at the apex there, so race control will, as you say, John, ask for more detailed explanation of his thinking, I would imagine, from young Tristan McKee, the youngest ever winner of an ARCA race, a guy on the stock car path who's elected to come run in the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup Championship, so doing the reverse Connor Zilic, if you will.
I was going to say Connor Zilic did it the opposite way around. Good way to learn racecraft, though, here in the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup, presented by Michelin. I think Ryan Leach lost some bodywork at turn 1 as well. The race is on at the front of the field. Keep an eye open for the yellow and red stripe flag. It means slippery surface or something that's on the track that shouldn't be. And I think there might be a bit of debris down there unless an intrepid corner worker has run out to get a piece of Mazda. It's defensive driving down the inside for Bobby Gossett, and the light blue and black car of Jeremy Fletcher for Macumbi Macalia. It's BSI, Macumbi Macalia, JTR, Advanced, AAG. 5 different teams in the top 5. The first of the repeats, Matt Novak on a comeback drive. Started on the front row, went down outside the top 10. Now back up to 6th position. The leaders, 1, 2, 3, absolutely together as we're getting down to the business end of the race.
And I can't explain clearly enough how impressive this driving is, because it is master and Padawan, if you will, between Jeremy Fletcher and Bobby Gossett. Bobby was coached by Fletcher last year when they both were at BSI. And then all of a sudden, Yoda enters the chat. Jared Thomas is here. He's going for the lead. Jared, one of 2 drivers on the grid who has won at this track in an MX-5 Cup car. The 3rd driver who's won at this track is Sebastian Bourdais, but that was in an Indy car, so he doesn't count as far as we are concerned. Gresham Wagner and Jared Thomas, the only 2 guys to get it done in Mazdas, and Fletcher wants it so badly. He's gotten a pole position here, but he feels like there's unfinished business, and he's sticking it down the inside as a round has gone. James Vance with the help of Marcello Paniccia. Remember, Marcello's crew was here very late, so hopefully there's no damage to his car, but everybody else is trying to file through cleanly. This is a turn 10. Thank you, John. And wow, Paniccia backs up. He backs up into traffic. Still, though, nobody has hit the James Vance car, which is sitting sideways. And whoa, it just got close there for Jameson Riley. And coming to a stop was the Parker DeLong racing car of Charlotte Trainer as a round goes Ethan Lampy. He's just gotten some help further up. I think that might have been from Ethan Jacobs. The chaos is breaking out. 12 minutes to go, and it's just gone bonkers.
Yeah, that was down at that is down at the first corner, and we're going to get a full course yellow here again, I think. Yes, we are. 11.5 minutes to go. Jared Thomas, by the way, passed Jeremy Fletcher into second. Fletcher got back into second, and then Thomas repassed him for a second time. A heck of a battle going on, but 2 and a bit seconds behind Bobby Gossett for the lead. That lead now disappears as we have the 3rd intervention and neutralisation by the Whelen Mazda MX-5 safety car. So Bobby Gossett coming under the auspices of the safety car, which pulls out from its spot at turn 10 and picks up the cars before they go through the chicane at 11 and 12 towards the end of the lap. And Gossett, Jared Thomas, Jeremy Fletcher, Ethan Lampe is 4th position, and now the best of the rookies ahead of Chuck McTurtis. Oh, that was a heavy contact, and actually not the car we thought it was. It was the white number 38 that caused that spin, and that's, you have to say, that could have been a lot worse than it was there, Shay, because that's one of the fastest parts of the area, of the circuit. And then side-by-side contact, was that Matt Novak that got into
it
the
was
side
either Novak or McTutis. No, Ethan Lampe out of the car, unfortunately. This is terrible news for Ethan. He was one of our most impressive rookies, leading Daytona for several laps in race number 2. But he is out of that number 31 machine. That will be a DNF as far as he is concerned. I couldn't tell which of the black cars was involved with him, though, John, but it was a mostly black car, which leads me to think it was somebody further back down the pack, strangely.
Yeah, I think you're right. In a black car, I'm just trying to look down to see who's there and who might have a little bit of damage. White number 38 is Sebastian Bourdais, who caused that incident, and he's got the damage to prove it on the right front of that car from Akumbi Makalia Racing, one of the 2 invitation. Earl Bamber, by the way, in the Hendricks car, has moved ahead now into the top 10. So he's winning the battle of...
They're fighting for something extra, John, because there's extra incentive on the line. Penske normally does a shocking performance award where they award a set of shocks to the driver who's passed the most cars from their qualifying position to their finishing. Right now, that goes the way of Will Robinson, plus 22 cars. Thank you guys for the graphic and for supporting me on that without even knowing where I was going. But it is extra incentive for our 2 guest drivers. Every car they pass, Penske will donate $50. And if they happen to get the Penske Shocking Performance Award, obviously they don't need shocks for the next race weekend. Penske will also donate $500 to the Kart for Kids charity that Sebastian Bourdais is representing on the number 38 machine.
He's going to need a new front right wing on that car before the next one tomorrow. No celebrating the birthday tonight. He'll be getting ready to go race 2 Cadillac Works drivers in the FIA World Endurance Championship, due to get underway the week after Sebring. Actually, the Sunday and the Monday after Sebring, with their prologue.
Okay,
remains
now
to be
I'm
seen
going to give
whether
Gossett
that will
the 10
actually
bonus
go
points
ahead.
for leading the most laps.
So Bobby Gossett Jr. then now cannot be usurped on laps led. So 10 bonus points, getting down to the last 7 minutes. He's also got the fastest lap at the moment. A 31.9 is something in the region of almost 8 seconds away from a dry track record, which at the moment stands to Jeremy Fletcher from last year. The race lap record, that is. So untidy on the streets of St. Pete so far. And Nathan Nicholson will be cursing his luck now. He needed a couple of those, or one of those safety cars to put the slick Michelins on. And he's worked his way back up to 28th position. But now time running out as the track is drying out. Bobby Gossett with the fastest lap we mentioned, by a decent margin as well. Half a second to Jeremy Fletcher in second, and Jared Thomas in third. And those are the top 3 in the race at the moment, Shane.
But, John, let's not forget, Bobby Gossett has had clean air with nobody hounding him, whereas Jeremy Fletcher and Jared Thomas were definitely slowing each other down, especially through the twisty bits on that last attempt at a green flag period of running. Safety car stays out for one more lap. We are down to 6 minutes to go in this race as the double yellows are still being held up by Tawny on the starter stand. Hi to Tawny, by the way, out there representing us well. Glad it did not rain and that you did bring your galoshes and all the wet weather gear just to keep it away.
Yeah, well, for the first time in about 55 days, maybe a bit more. I washed the car yesterday, so any rain anywhere is my fault. This my 7th different, seventh different racetrack in 8 weekends at the start of a very busy season for sports car and GT racing. Just seeing the cars coming through. I think, unfortunately, anybody who did put on the tyres, Nathan Nicholson, we know, did. Just an Adeconis, we believe, has as well, the number 23, Michelin Racing, but his laps off the lead at the moment. Just under 5 minutes to go. Not been the race we were hoping for, somewhat untidy, but coming back to green, I think, this time around, with Bobby Gossett then looking to grab a victory, but he has got a huge amount of experience in the two cars behind him, with Jeremy Fletcher and Jared Thomas, both of them on the podium here last year. Jared Thomas winning the first race, Jared Thomas winning the first race and third in the second race. Jeremy Fletcher knows his way around here as well. This is going to be 2 or 3 green flag laps that are going to feel like an endurance race for Bobby Gossett. BSI Racing, when does he decide to go hard? The restart zone is between 13 and 14. That's where they are now, down onto the front straight. Tony has the green flag in the air, and we are racing for round number 3 of the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin. Maybe something in the region of 4.5 to 5 miles. We might get 2 more after this, depending on when they cross the line. Down the inside, Jared Thomas holding on to second as Jeremy Fletcher was right in there now. Could have been either one of them at the apex of turn number 1, and as he comes through, it is Jared Thomas who's in second place on the run down First Street towards the right-hander that takes them briefly onto 2nd Avenue and then to Beach Street. Behind them, side by side racing as through Tristan McKee in the blue and white car, the almost purple and white car on Frankie Barroso in the Spark Performance number 48. They are battling over 5th and 6th position. Grant West's right in behind them. Earl Bamber with a watching brief there as well. Earl in the number 21 Hendricks Motorsport car, but at the front, Bobby Gossett has broken away by 0.3 of a second, and Shea Adam, that decent gap with possibly only 2 laps to go.
Yeah, Jared Thomas is coming, though. There's no way that gap stays. Poor Jeremy Fletcher got strung out in turn 1. That ultimately dropped him back from battling for the lead to battling to stay in 4th position. So Jeremy Fletcher, again, it looks like he will come up 1 spot short of the podium if he stays there, but there's still a lot of racing left to go. Grant West had a look down the inside from Earl Bamber. He closed the door. Very fair racing from both of those drivers. And as you said, McGee and Barroso also. McGee very, very heads up driving to leave racing room. The BSI young man doing some very impressive stuff on the racetrack these last couple of rounds.
Bobby Gossett with another new fastest lap of the race. The conditions improving again. He's half a second quicker than the battling pair behind him, but he just lost a little time through the first corner. Thomas in second. Novak now fighting his way back from a front row start outside the top 10. Now back on the podium again. Then Jeremy Fletcher. Also Grant West. Earl Bamber up to 7th position. Tristan McKee is in there. Ethan Jacobs in the top 10. Gresham Wagner in that number 5 car. He's pulled his way up. He started way down. He's getting some important points for the season. He'll be thinking championship here in that number 5 JTR Motorsports engineering car, the darker coloured car.
And remember, when you finish in the top 10, you walk away with real cash money, so that is something as well for Gresham Wagner to keep in the back of his mind. Of course, Bamber in P6 is going to get a check. That check is going to go straight to Kart for Kids because Mazda has agreed to do that again. So fantastic effort for raising money for a very good cause. But Bobby Gossett is sitting at potentially seeing the white flag of his first ever race victory in this championship. All he has to do is hold off the 2-time and only back-to-back champion that this series has ever seen, and there has been an off further down in the field.
10.
I believe that is Bashura involved there. White flag flies. It is turn 10. Yes, Sean, thank you. And we see Bobby Gossett in the lead. Jared Thomas is right there.
Staying green at this part of the track, so as they went through across the line, Gossett, but Jared Thomas has got right back to him. We're still under green flag conditions at this part of the circuit. It is the final lap. Gossett, Jared Thomas, Matt Novak for Advanced Autosports in third. Jeremy Fletcher 2 seconds further back. This could be another well-timed pass for the lead if he can do it here. Jared Thomas in the red and white car pushing the number 44 as the full course yellow comes out right in front of the leaders. No chance for the pass to be made. He's side by side, but that's because the leader has lifted off double yellows, and that will freeze the field for the last mile or so of the track, and Bobby Gossett holds on. We were in for a grandstand finish. The accident down the runoff at turn 10, but race control rightly saying that, well, if two cars can end up down there, then more cars can as well. And I'm afraid that Fernando Luque and AAG Racing number 25 will not see the checkered flag, and it will be round 3 and the victory in the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin. BSI Racing, Bobby Gossett wins it under yellow from Jared Thomas from JTR in second, and Matt Novak, who had a yo-yo of a race for Advanced Autosport. Awful first 3/4 of a lap when he dropped way down in the wetter conditions, but really did well coming back in the second half. It dried up. Jeremy Fletcher misses out again here on the podium. He'll think that this place doesn't like him at all. Second best of the rookies for Spark Performance in 5th is Frankie Barroso, second to Matt Novak, who was on the overall podium. Then Grant West, another Spark car. BSI's Tristan McKee, the number 7 purple car, in 7th position. Earl Bamber, the best of the invitation class cars, Hendricks Motorsport, he wins the battle of the LMP drivers in 8th position. Gresham Wagner sneaked into the top 10 at 9 for JTR, and Ethan Jacobs rounds off the top 10. Seb Bourdais damaged the front of the car, but he still came in 11th. Jemison Riley in 12th. Will Robinson 13th. John Salerno, another Rocky, in the top 15. Glenn McGee working his way up to 15th position. All of those positions subject to post-race technical inspection. Max Stallone making up positions to 18th. Where did he start? 38th, I think. If I skim down to that, see where Max started. That was a lot of positions made up. But at the front of the field, the Salty Dog Cafe will be celebrating tonight as Bobby Gossett brings their car and BSI's run machine home to the top step of the box.
And
now,
very
let's see if we can work out.
He leads the championship, John.
So the incident was indeed at turn 10 that sent the two cars, and it was, as Shea pointed out, the 33, Alex Bashura, the other car in there, Fernando Luque, and there was a bit of suspension there. Absolutely no choice for race control. They left the cars racing as long as they could. That's really very good race control. Opportunity for Jeremy Fletcher to maybe get on the podium, on Jared Thomas to take the victory, but that's not what happened. So round 3 of the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin. Here's your top 10. Bobby Gossett, Jared Thomas and Matt Novak will stand on the IndyCar weekend podium. From Jeremy Fletcher, who once again falls a position short of a podium here, Frankie Barroso might be pretty happy with that, the rookie in 5th position. Then Grant West, Tristan McKee, Earl Bamber, the best of the invited drivers in 8th. Gresham Wagner fighting his way through the field for good points in 9th, and Ethan Jacobs rounds off the top 10 for JDH Racing.
It was a great resumption of championship battles, moving people who should be further up in the points back where they belong, included Jared Thomas, who goes from 14th to 4th provisionally. But it just makes me even more excited for what we're going to get tomorrow, race 2 in the afternoon.
Let's hope those cars get repaired, the ones that had a little bit of bumping and boring, all part of the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin Experience. A bumper field, wet and drying, tricky conditions, and the drivers, well, they had to deal with it. I'm afraid it wasn't all plain sailing for all of the drivers, but ultimately, BSI, JTR, and Advance Autosports, their drivers on the top steps of the podium. And there's a bit of work to do for tomorrow to see all 40 of those cars back on the streets of St. Pete's. I'm John Hindhaugh for Shea Adam. Bye for now.